What's going on, you guys? Welcome to Coolies Off the Cuff. Right now, we put this special report together because, this is a serious time for all of us. The Black Lives Movement, uh, Floyd's funeral. Uh, this is horrible. All I can say is right now is that being black in America, if you're black, you know what I'm talking about. We're not happy with police brutality in our own communities amongst us ourselves. People, you just tuned into Off the Cuff. Coolies Off the Cuff. Welcome, everybody. All right, everybody. I'd like to welcome Layla Cooley, and I have my super co-host here, Dr. Garrard McClendon. Can you hear me, Garrard?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You might want to bring that mic closer. It's not.
Okay. All right, but you know what? We got our people tuning in right now, and we actually have some correspondents in LA, Atlanta, and Minnesota on the scene at different locations for us. But before we go to them, there's a lot of things that's going on there. We definitely want to talk about as far as, I'm sorry, let me see myself situated here. With this police brutality, it's been going on forever. But I think right now we're at a situation where people they're upset and they're tired and they're coming out and they're representing very well. And I say representing, I'm talking about representing how they feel now. When we have protests, I'm talking about this Iowa protest happening. It only lasted a couple of days. This particular protest has gone on for weeks. On top of that, it's global. Who would ever thought someone from the United States would affect people in other countries by being murdered by the police? Of course, it just affecting us at home, but it carried over to other countries. China protest. Now, I don't know if this is a political move, but if you saw it in the newspaper or online, where Nancy Pelosi and them all kneeled for 9 minutes. Dr. Garrard, I'm speechless. Anything you want to chime in?
Yeah, the kneeling was fine, but will it lead to legislation? Okay,
Yes.
See, that's the thing, pomp and circumstance, put my cap and gown on, act like I'm a sympathizer to black people. That's all well and good, but until you change policies and laws, 8 minutes of kneeling doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything whatsoever. It's lip service.
Okay. Well, you know what? I look at it as a start, because if you think about it now, even the NFL president spoke out, stating that, how he felt about kneeling. He never apologized. Now, that to Kaepernick. He never apologized, but he did admit that he's standing with the NFL players. So I think in that respect, we're on to a good start.
He's only standing with NFL players because he doesn't want the paycheck to be reduced. He doesn't care. He knew that Colin Kaepernick was right 4 years ago when Kaepernick lost his job. He knew then. But anytime you have people as prominent as the Super Bowl winning quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, does a video with other NFL players to put the pressure on, now Roger Goodell is sorry. It's lip service, man. It's the same as when I ever see police officers riding horseback. I cannot stand mounted horsemen because it reminds me of slavery. There's all of these hints and notices of slavery that we still have to endure. And George Floyd becomes the poster child for this. Until things change policy wise, economically, politically, socially, in terms of mobility, you're not going to see major change. This is why the young people, these people under 30 years old, they have the better idea. They're out in the streets. They're pushing legislators. They're going to get some people voted out of office. They're going to turn the heat up. And unless you put intense heat and pressure on individuals, nothing will change. Power concedes nothing without a demand. Frederick Douglass.
Gotcha. So, with that being said, the movement that they're making right now, how do you feel about that? Reducing, defund the police, reduce the budget and invest back into the community. What's your take on the call to defend the police department? Defund the police department, I should say.
It makes
in most cases.
It makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. We spend $38,000 to $40,000 per prisoner in this country. What if we spent $38,000 to $40,000 per person on education, on health care, on socialization, on mental health, on better streets, better roads, better schools? What if we moved that money and transferred it to a place that could reduce crime, reduce poverty? That's what we're looking at. See, it's not about, people that, how you gonna live without police? It's not even about that. It's about taking a sizable portion of funds and moving it to an area that's going to have a better qualitative and quantitative effect. That's all defunding police departments is going to do.
Okay. All right. So answer this question here. Do you think with this movement right now that we're doing with Black Lives Matter, voting, do you think it's going to encourage us to vote? Or I actually seen posts where it's telling Blacks not to vote until legislation and things change.
I think we're going to see record numbers this fall for the presidential race. We may get 120 to 150 million votes, maybe 160 million votes for this presidential race. I think that the powder keg has been stoked. And I think that we'll also see a massive increase of voters between the ages of 18, the brand new voters, and 24. The 18 to 24-year-olds are going to come out and vote. The people a little older than that, they're really not concerned. They're still Bernie bros. But when it comes to that 18 to 24-year-old, you're going to see massive numbers this fall.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to come to, I think we're going to go live for a minute in LA. We got a couple of people out there, correspondents looking out for us. So let's see what the protest is looking like right now in LA. I'm going to bring in Q. I see Q right there on the screen. All right, here we go. Q. Q's coming in right now. Q, how you doing out there in LA?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear us? Can you see us?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I can't hear.
You can't hear us?
What's going on in LA? What's going on out there?
Okay,
What's
so
happening
we
in LA?
are out here in LA. We're at City Hall right now. So it's a small, peaceful protest out here in City Hall. Me and my team from the High Hour, we're out here protesting. And this is going on, this is week 3, I believe. I kind of lost count because I'm just out here every day, trying to be out here every day, because as we can see, things have changed, you know? The more we out here, the more like they're immediately trying to implement laws and implement legislation to get things changed.
That's awesome.
And so like we're out here right now, I'm out here with a protester that, how old are you, sir?
I'm 46 years old.
And so where did you come from to downtown LA?
I came from Lancaster, California, which is About 45 minutes to an hour away from here.
Okay. And so, what made you come down here and want to stand with the people?
Well, I'll tell you a story. When I was young, my grandma raised me, and she was in the kitchen fixing her a cup of coffee, and she had a nightgown on, and I seen a big gash in her leg, and I say, "Grandma, where you get that gash in your leg?" And she looked at me and she told me, she say, "Baby, I had to let that dog bite me so you can have the same rights just like everybody else." See, God took me through some things so I know what to fight. See, just like Harriet Tubman, she was born on a plantation. She left the plantation and went back and got her people. See, I've been to the Department of Correction. I've been a victim of police brutality. I've been a victim of America's injustice here in America. You see, the fight that we fight has to go further. It has to go further to the Constitution because the Constitution is so unconstitutional to black people. How can something be constitutional to me that was written by slave owners?
Exactly.
Why every time I pick up a $20 bill, I see a slave owner? Why every time that I go home to the South, I see the Confederate flag and a statue of a slave owner? That because it was never meant for us to come out of slavery. The 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment makes it against the law to be black. It gives them an okay to kill us at will. And until we stand up as a people and march up there to Washington, march up there to that Justice Department, and let them know this is what we want. Our ancestors built this country, and we deserve the same privileges that everybody else gets. I have some stories. Believe me, I got a story to tell. Oh, I've been through some awful things in West Palm Beach. In 1993, when Joe Biden passed the crime bill, the police came into our neighborhoods like a hurricane and beat us and put drugs in our pockets just to incarcerate us. I done seen police shoot an unarmed black man and plant a gun on it. That's before we had the cell phones, before we had the cameras. I got a story to tell.
So, what do you want to tell the protesters that's out right now, that's out here every day, that's fighting? What do you want to tell them?
Don't stop. Don't let those civil rights leaders that march for us, deaths, go in vain. Young ladies, I want to talk to the ladies. You are the strongest being that God ever created on this earth. Harriet Tubman risked her life to come back and get us. So don't y'all give up. Don't let this be a trend. Don't let this be a fashion. Don't let this be something that you do because somebody else is doing it. Do it because it comes from your heart for the love of people like God have love for us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, thank you, sir. And we are out here fighting for our ancestors, for our elderly, and for ourselves. So, I want to say from the high hour, we're going to be out here every single day until we have change in America. And that starts with our system. We're trying to change the system so that it's better for all of us, not just Black, Hispanic, Asian, everyone, the American human race. That's what we're out here fighting for, so that everything is equal and we can live in freedom without thinking, walking outside our door, that we may get killed by the police. That's what we're out here fighting for, and we'll continue to be out here fighting. Thanks. Peace out.
We appreciate you. We're going to pass you on. Bring up Face. Face is on the screen. Face is in LA. Face, how's it going out there in LA?
How y'all doing?
Can you hear us?
What's up, Face?
Face, can you hear us?
I cannot hear you.
All right. What's happening out there in LA?
What's going on, Face?
How you doing?
We good.
I can't hear y'all, brother.
We can hear you though. We can hear you.
At all.
Tell us what you see.
Well, I'm out here in downtown LA. I can't hear y'all, brothers. I'm just gonna tell y'all what's going on right now. We down in downtown LA at the City Hall. We marched around the police station back to the City Hall. And now we having speakers go out there and express their pain and things they've been with dealing with police brutality and its unjust systems. I always said you cannot fix a system that's working perfectly. We need a new system. I don't know
Okay,
what's going on, if y'all can hear me or not. It says I'm live, but I
you're
can't
good.
see or hear anything. So this your boy Faith from the High Hour reporting live from downtown LA. And that's
Okay,
what's going on. Now I'm finna get up there and speak and let my words be my weapon.
all right, appreciate you. Thank you.
That's for real, Face. That's for
Yeah.
real, man. We appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, hey, well,
Okay, well, we're gonna let because they let me cue them out. So, all right, so they're actually a protest that started in LA time zones.
Mhm.
So we appreciate them getting interviews out there, talking to the people. I'm gonna go Minneapolis right now. We have two. Let me see if hold up. We might have an interview. We're gonna come back. All right. So go to TV, and he's on location. TP.
TP,
TP.
yes.
Here,
Hello.
Wow.
TP.
What's up, TP?
Hello, Mr. Cooley.
Yes. And I got Dr. Gerard McClendon with me, sir.
Tell us what you see,
I
man.
got a bad connection, man, but I'm out here at this one location. This college kid came up with this idea to put all the names who were um, violently killed
Oh, wow.
by police.
Okay.
You have names like George Floyd, uh, Philando Castilla.
Oof.
Man, there's just names everywhere, and as you can see, it's just a sea of them, of
Wow.
people that
And so
passed away. Well,
this is not
not passed
actually
away,
a
that got
grave
killed
site.
in the line of
Oh, my gosh.
by police. What
So,
I'm going to do from here, I'm going
this
to
is not
go
actually a grave
to
site. No, this is
another
made.
location, unless you guys want to talk to the uh, the one college kid who came up with this idea.
Yeah.
All right. That'll be awesome.
You want to do that?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. If you can make that happen, yes.
Hello,
Yes.
Yeah. That'd be
We would
great.
love to do it.
hello.
Yes. Can you hear it? TP. Can you hear it? Back in we have TP in Minnesota and Minneapolis right now live. He's actually going to made.
Hello, Mr. Cooley.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me? TP, can you hear us? So, well, Dr. And what do you think about this? Gentlemen,
Yeah.
that's nice.
This is just looking at all of those mock graves, man, was devastating. And it just shows you that we have to keep asking the question. We cry for everyone else, but who will cry for us?
Oh, yes.
That's the bottom line right there. Who will cry for us, man? And we're realizing more and more that very few people will, man. And that's what's sad about the sham of the United States of America. It doesn't take care of all of its citizens. It only takes care of a very small portion.
Right. Well, TP's supposed to shine right back in. Hold on, right quick. We're trying to put these people in, folks. Technology, it works in your favor sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. But we'll keep it moving until we chime back in. Definitely want to hear from the gentleman that created that mock site.
Is your main mic on? It's fading in and out. Is your main mic on or your computer mic on?
Okay. All right. Well, TP is trying to check. He's going to find the gentleman. So let me jump back in. Atlanta's going to come a little bit later because it's raining. I was told. So I have a question for you. Not even a question for you, just to talk about how do we feel now that the police officer has been upgraded to second degree, and it was reported that he's been having a lot of issues for years as far as police brutality. But of course, he's never been kicked off the force, but now he's in custody. So with that history, do you think that they might get a conviction? And because it's hard to convict, actually, get a good term for a police officer that committed murder for years. TP, go ahead. You can answer that right. Or you on it, and we'll come back while we have TP live. 1 second. TP, can you hear us? Okay, you can hear us, folks. Let's bring it to 3 1. Oh my goodness. TP, what is this?
Yes, sir.
So
we
where
are live here
what is this?
at the site where Mr. Floyd was murdered.
Oh my goodness.
Here in Minneapolis, South Minneapolis.
Okay.
This is actually where he was on the ground. These are like Minneapolis people came up. They came out in support of this. There's like a sea of flowers everywhere. I'll take you to where. This is where those guys who actually recorded, they were standing about right here, watching and begging that police officer to get up, and he wouldn't. And he didn't get up. He didn't allow George to get that breath that he was asking for. So this is where we're located.
So I have a question.
Today it's raining out here, so there's not a lot of people out.
Gotcha.
But the support is still there. The love is still there. And as you see, they have the streets blocked off about a block and a half each way. This is like a 4-way stop.
Yes.
Chicago and 38th. And totally blocked off. You see the somebody came by and dropped this off this weekend. That fist in the center of the street.
Wow.
I hope I'm going slow enough. I hope you guys are able to see everything.
Yes, we are.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we yes. Oh my goodness. So I have.
But there's enough to just see here and just enough to take in, without me even saying much.
This is amazing footage. I mean, this is. I'm looking at the fact. How did?
That's the store. That's the store that I called the police on.
Okay.
Cuff Foods. Look like they might be open. They took some boards off of their front door.
So, TP, what do the people take this out there? When I say that,
so I'm going to walk around to this other side.
I don't think you can hear me.
Where there's more people and more graffiti, more flowers. This is the first time I've been able to walk this free down here.
Wow. That's the George Floyd
been a
sign.
sea of people.
That's the George Floyd sign.
Yeah.
I'm going to just stop right here so you guys can look at that.
Okay. Wow.
Any thoughts? Any questions?
I don't know. Can you hear us? TP, can you hear us? I'm going to come up on the screen maybe.
TP.
All right, let me.
Wow.
TP, can you hear us?
Huh?
Can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
Okay. So now the people out there that have been out there and people protesting. Have you talked to anyone that how they emotionally how they feel? I mean, it doesn't matter the race because everyone is supporting this movement. So my question to you, if you ask someone, how do they feel overall about the situation that has happened, the murder of Floyd? I mean, they're out there supporting, but how did it touch them? You know, maybe they had a relative that's been incarcerated or have police brutality happen to them. If you just ask anybody a question.
Okay. Let me go. I'll ask this guy here who's looking.
My God, this is interesting.
Yes.
George Floyd Memorial.
Hey, excuse me, man. Just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. I'm live on Facebook Live. I got people from Chicago, people from Atlanta, LA, and I got you here on it. One of the questions they want to know, how do you feel? How do you feel about this death? How do you feel about everything that happened? Do you have any experience with
The police.
being harassed?
Yeah, like pretty much all the time, you know. Like
Get a little closer. Tell them talk.
how they raise profile and stuff like that. Man, like this whole situation, man, they really big, you know.
Can you guys hear him?
Yeah.
It's my
Yeah,
first
just
time.
talk a
I'm not
little bit.
gonna lie, man. I really didn't come. You know, his emotions. You know what I mean? And I could just feel the vibe, like it's just way different, you know. But it's kind of tragic, man. You know, it's tragic. It is.
Okay,
Okay.
that's good.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Oh, man. Dr. Say,
Hello? You need somebody else?
if you can give one more person, that'll be fine. I mean, we definitely appreciate
You know
them
what?
pouring out their heart and that's how they feel being there on the site. I mean, and you know what? I want to know from you. I mean, you've been out there a couple of days. So, post everything has happened, has everything been peaceful, or did we have I'm talking about since you've been out there in the daytime in this area, or did we have rioting right here in this area where it happened?
It's been peaceful to me, but I haven't really been in this uh, neighborhood a
Okay,
ton. But every time I've been out here, it's all been about love.
awesome.
Everybody's getting together, and I'm not just talking about black. I'm
Okay.
talking about white. I'm talking about Asian, every race.
Mm.
See here, they're here over here praying. This has been the flow of Minneapolis. People gathering together, and as you see, you got every race
Mm.
in there.
That's real.
So what we're doing, I guess, what's really going on is they're breaking down this color. You know, let's stop with all this racism. So I would say let's give them a chance before we say no, it ain't gonna happen. You know. So I see a difference. I see a change in Minneapolis, and I hope it's the same change all over the world. I think I just lost you.
And you know what? The change is happening, TP, because the movement has been over outside the United States now and other countries from it. So just to see this memorial slide, man, you know, it's touching, it's heart wrenching. A long video, but support and the shutdown of 48 Avenue. Oh my goodness.
You
Yeah.
are breaking up.
This is actually where the truck was.
Yep.
Say that again.
This is actually where he was parked. And when it happened, where it happened, right there, with your
This
point.
is where it happened. Yes, this is where it happened.
Okay.
People are hurting.
Yes.
People are hurting.
Yeah. All right. GP, we
Yes, sir.
appreciate you being on the scene and sharing this experience with us. It's not an experience that we want to experience, but we're touched. Uh, it's moving, my brother. It's really moving. For all the support and love that I see people have come out. We just pray that it continues today, tomorrow, and this cause is fought, and it's won. Thank you. Anything you want to say in closing?
You're breaking up.
Okay.
Sorry,
Could
man.
you play it down to that writing right there on the ground in the yellow? It was the yellow chalk or something right there. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
That's it. On that note, we're gonna finish you out.
All right.
All right.
That's
Be
serious.
safe.
So, like,
That's serious. Got an acronym
all right.
on the
God
ground.
bless, man.
Yes. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
You're welcome.
God bless you.
Yep.
Got an acronym on the ground, man. Wow. You're like, once again, who's going to cry for us? That's the bottom line. Who's going to cry for us, man? And, we have cliches like no justice and no peace, but it doesn't mean anything if there isn't a change in legislation. It doesn't mean anything if an officer, Derek Chauvin, has 18 plus complaints and nobody knows about them. The civilians don't know about them because they've been covered up by his superiors.
Right.
He isn't, if you're not docked for pay for complaints, if the complaints aren't running in the newspaper, if the complaints aren't mentioned during council meetings at City Hall, if you don't lose a portion of your pay, then a complaint doesn't mean anything. And what do we have? The result. We have George Floyd dead, tortured, lynched, asphyxiated on concrete for the world to see. Praying. This is going to take a lot more than Hail Mary. This is going to take a lot more than all of that. Black people are going to have to find acute surgical ways to cut off finances within the system. Unless that happens, you're not going to see any changes. Unless you cut acute finance off in the system, you won't see any changes at all. It'll just be another person getting killed again, and we'll be in church again, and the eulogy will be beautiful, and we'll bring in Reverend Al, and nothing will change. Unless you shut a store down, now you can change. Unless you shut a school down, now you can see some change, because now you have the ear of those who are powerful. But until that happens, no change.
Now, I'm in agreement with exactly everything that you're saying. I feel that the change is hard. I feel the movement's slow. I mean, certain departments have already started defunding the police departments, and of course, but this is the thing: it's politics. Where does the money go? Just because you have funded the police department, that budget where we go into the communities, we still don't know where the money's going to go because it's still new. So the goal is happening, but it's not happening fast. And it's not happening everywhere. Especially, they want it to happen in Minnesota. They want to see that. I mean, so I don't know. I do not know. And I'm lost for words because of the fact of it is
Change doesn't have to be slow, though. See, I think that's the misnomer. Everybody thinks that we have to work within a system. You don't always have to work within a system. If you're beating your spouse,
yeah.
If you're beating up your
scenario,
go with me now, and I'm gonna start using this a lot. I don't care if you're male or female. If If you're beating up your spouse, you have a choice.
Okay.
Now, you have the choice to stop beating up your spouse, or the spouse has a choice to leave.
Correct.
But there's consequences regardless of the person who's in the situation. And until people are willing to endure a consequence, you won't see a change. Period.
Okay. Well, then, just like
we asking for stuff for 400 years and we get a little bit each year.
Yeah.
Stop riding public transportation like Dr. Martin Luther King did in Birmingham, Alabama in 1955 for 13 months if people don't change. Yeah. Stop going to your favorite restaurant. Cook at home. Stop shopping so much in stores where the people don't even like you.
There you go. Now that's the change that we should do. That's the protest.
That's one way to protest. Protest has to be octopus-like. It has to have several arms, several legs. So the people who are oppressing really can't know what direction you're coming from. This is the beauty of Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, everybody's a leader and nobody's a leader. That's the beauty of that movement. And Black Lives Matter was criticized a few years because they said, well, who's the leader of Black Lives Matter? Okay, it's Patrice Cullors and it's 2 or 3 other young ladies, blah, 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 blah. But they even said, we may have founded it, we may have started it, but Black Lives Matter is wherever Black Lives Matter is. It could be in Houston, Texas. It can be on the south side of Chicago. It can be in Harlem. It can be in Compton. It can be in Birmingham. It can be in Saskatchewan. It can be anywhere. And that's what makes that movement powerful, to the point where the mayor of Washington, D.C. has Black Lives Matter commissioned and painted leading up to the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And they renames it Black Lives Matter Drive or whatever.
Exactly.
So that's the power of a movement. It's not about me. I'm an old head. I'm a professor. I'm tenured. I'm relatively comfortable, but I'm looking for those young guns. I want to give wisdom, but I want those young guns to go out there in the street, make some noise, and start boycotting.
And you know what? They already, and that's the good thing about it. I pray that our people, with the rioting and with the looting, I mean, it's calmed down from what we can see. But the best part of it is that things are starting to happen again on the right perspective of the protest. And we're making small changes. And then you can say, why does that move slow? I think sometimes, like a turtle, and you know where I'm going with this. Sometimes it has to move slow for the main cause and effect with time. Because with the laws to change, the laws still change overnight. But if the movement's going to happen with right way, this might be a drawn-out process, whereas the protests normally have been short. This was going to be a while. So I'm thinking change is going to happen globally, and then we're going to get the things that we want. But hopefully that money, once they start defunding some of these police stations or police departments in these major cities, just hoping that money goes to the right areas, and that we do not, in this case, I'm going to say, are put in a situation where we wish we didn't fund the police department.
Right.
Our own communities.
If you have a mental illness and you're acting erratically, should you call the cops? See, here's the thing. The police officers get 911 calls all the time for stuff they shouldn't even be doing.
That's true.
Okay. So for instance, let's say I am in my home and I'm threatening to ingest a substance that's not good for me. A cop doesn't necessarily have to come to that. Maybe the 911 call going to the social worker or to the psychiatrist or psychologist or mental therapist would be a better 911 phone call. Because if the police officer gets there, the police officer doesn't know my mental state.
Right.
And so the police officer may act out of pocket or not do anything at all or harm someone in the home because the police officer wasn't trained for that. That's the problem. We have, and I'm sympathizing with some police officers here, we have made everything go to the 911 center, and we want firefighters, we want paramedics and police officers to solve all the problems when some of that money should be defunded, and that money could go to social workers, that money can go to more jobs for young people, that money can go to psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists to help people out under certain circumstances of duress. That's what we mean by defunding the police department. It has nothing to do with people losing their jobs. It has all to do with society taking care of itself.
Okay. So, just like you said that about in the police department. See, in this case, like, have they really broken down what funding the police department really is? I mean, I have some ideas, and I have some facts, things of that nature. But from what I get, the defunding the police department is police will be funded, but police will not be overfunded. Redistribution of the city budget. Everyone gets a fair share. Police should focus on criminal, and just like you said, and criminals, crime and criminals, they should be mental health therapists, which you just said. But
Yeah.
Like, if someone is mental illness, would you rather have a police officer there or a therapist? In this case, if you can't keep a person calm down, I think I would do both. Because if they get out of hand, at least the police officer hopefully can restrain and hold the mental patient down. The problem, because now, with in the past, we, even mental illness or not, still respect police officers over therapists. Don't push the therapists out of the way. So, I think with that being said, this is how you go about, again, funding the police department and to not affect these in bad sense. Because I mean, now, like as far as education, you have out there as far as education. Remember, when the kids always officer friendly. I think we need to have more officers in the community again, and basically get to know the community. And they don't have to be from our community. I'm talking about officers getting into this community that you work in and get to know the people. I think that's where it breaks down for our politicians. They get out there and speak with the people as well. Then the police officers need to be out there just talking to people, letting them know we're here for you. Now, yes, we will, arrest you if you do criminal activity, but we want to talk to the community and get to know our community that we're working in. To ease the tension, sometimes that's just a moment.
Well, therein lies the problem. You have police officers who don't even live in the community where they patrol.
That's true.
That's a problem. That's a serious problem. You have to defund that. You have to defund a police officer that doesn't live in your neighborhood, and you have to put the funding into making sure that people in your neighborhood have the opportunity to be funded to go to the police academy. I don't want somebody from 28 miles away patrolling my neighborhood. Really? They don't have anything vested. There's no investment in that. The person doesn't even know the people who live in my community.
Okay.
That's what we're talking. See, people got this defunding thing twisted up. Man. If you ask the average person, would you call a police officer if there's a fire?
Right.
No. I don't want a police officer if there's a fire. I want a firefighter.
Right.
If I'm having a mental health issue, I don't want a police officer. I want an MSW, or I want a therapist, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or a pastor. I want somebody who can mentally and spiritually get me through my situation. Don't need a police officer for that. That they weren't hired to do that. They don't even want to do that. But the added pressure has been put on police officers because every call comes to them on the 911, and more than half the time they shouldn't even get the phone call.
All right. All right, we'll go to Atlanta right quick. We got Jimmy out there. He got one person he said he interviewed for us, so we're going to let them chime in right quick and see what it's looking like in the A. Jimmy, are you out there? Can you hear me? I guess Jimmy is this a clip or something? Jimmy, hello? I guess I can't hear. I think Jimmy must have sent us a video. Jimmy.
Being assaulted in the street with no accountability for cops that do it.
Right.
And I want, the police defunded. I want their funds diverted into more practical, constructive solutions for the communities at large and for the nation.
Okay. And you spoke about the police defunding. Where do you want the funds to go? What does that look like to you?
To me, it looks like several other independent agencies being set up with those funds. Agencies that are trained to deal with mental health better, mental health crises, lack of funds in impoverished or struggling communities. Just getting the funds where they need to go to people who can handle things without escalating them to the point of violence.
Okay, great. And what are some of your views on this year?
I can't wait to get Trump out of office. It's already been too long, People said give him a chance at the start. We've been giving him chance after chance after chance after chance after chance, and he's failed. We can't accept failure as an option anymore.
Oh boy, Dr. We have people out here doing a good job for us, getting us interviews, and we want to just thank them for coming out with us today in the rain. Just
truly
through this emotional time. Before we head out, they have Jewish people today, and I saw Sharpton speaking. Do you think when we have pastors that come from, I'll say one pastors like that are I'm going to call them a politician, but in the past, his movement. So like Jesse Jackson, I think that sometimes we just have the pastors in those communities, like you just said, not global pastors that are. I'm saying to me it's more sincere. Sometimes I look at pastors that are big globally. They're doing it for the television. So what I'm saying is, what is your take on having just a local person speak that really Mr. Floyd, opposed to having other pastors come in just big names?
It depends on the situation. I mean, if the local pastors don't have the charisma, if the local pastors don't have the juice, then bring in pastors from somewhere else. I just think that you can't stifle a movement by player hating and saying, well, you can't come in because you're outsider, or I've got a bigger name recognition than you. I say the more the merrier. Bring them all in, man. Bring them all in. Sure, there's always going to be somebody that's going to try to grandstand, but you know what? It's okay, because as long as it's moving towards the movement, as long as the ball is still rolling, everything is good. Al Sharpton preached at more than one of the George Floyd funerals. People were hating that. Why is he speaking at more than one funeral? Here's the bottom line. The George Floyd family asked him. That's the bottom line. So it's none of our business. The key is to be mourners. The key is to be in grief with the family. The key is to pray for the family and keep it moving. This divide and conquer amongst Black people, later for that. That's tired. That's some tired stuff, man.
There you go. Well,
And let me say this before the show ends too.
Okay.
The United States government needs to do a study on if some of these police officers killing black people are Ku Klux Klan members, neo-Nazis, or white supremacists. We have to see if they have ties, because there are too many black men dying and too many black women dying by the hands of police officers. This hasn't come up yet. Hasn't come up yet. Are these white officers, many of them uneducated, many of them family members have been police officers, grandparents have been police officers, don't have the best education in the world, and you give them a gun, you give them a badge, you give them a taser, you give them a billy club, you give them pepper spray, and they're supposed to patrol the community that they don't even care about? Check and see if they're neo-Nazis, white supremacists, or KKK members. The federal government has to do that study.
Okay. Well, Dr. McClendon, I mean, it's been something to see. I'm just drained right now because all that has happened and it's been going on for a lifetime. And I mean, it's hard to sit up here and act like it affects us, but we've been pulled over for years. I did go for the Minneapolis police years ago, where they're supposed to stop us a certain way, the right way as far as harassment amongst African Americans and Hispanics. And the video was supposed to show the proper way for a police officer to stop us instead of harassing us. And believe it or not, we had to reshoot it. We did it in Minneapolis, and then we had to do it in another city. I won't mention, if people know where I live, the city that I live in, they didn't want it to happen in this city. Due to the fact of this, the city has a history of being a racist city. I mean, people ask what we live there, but it's just keep it moving. So we shot in another city. And after we did the video, as far as I know, it was for the state police, and it's supposed to go to every police department in the state of Indiana. The video did not make it out. Now, we got to pay for it. But what I'm trying to say with this, if you are trying to really change and better departments, they need opportunity. And I mean, not just once or twice, not just video. This has to be implemented all the time. So just pray that we can get things moving, the change that happens, and it's effective. I mean, the protesting is awesome. Just hoping we can keep this protesting going so the change can what we need to. As far as being black in America, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. This has been happening too long.
Black lives matter, man. Come on. See, that all lives matter stuff, that's nonsense, man. Because see, here's the thing. When it comes to breast cancer, who do we talk about? We talk about women, right? Even though men get breast cancer.
That's true.
Right? When we talk about certain portions of society being misused, we want to say everybody gets misused. Anytime you pull in that all lives matter stuff, which was started by a movement that was anti-Black Lives Matter, you get the message muddy.
All right.
Of course we know all lives matter, but who's getting killed by cops? Black people.
Mm-hmm. I want to
wearing a body cam. I'm gonna start wearing a GoPro body cam. Seriously, and I strongly recommend that people wear body cams in certain situations. Just turn the thing on, and it may not keep you from getting killed, but at least you have evidence.
Exactly. Listen, Doc, before I switch this into a Black Lives movement, because there's some other things I want to say about the Black lives that do matter. But I pray that our communities come together and stop the senseless things that happen to us. We got to change that too. We want them to stop. We all have to stop. Black Lives Matter is a bigger movement. So let's make these things happen all the way around for us. Dr. Jerome, thank you so much for being on the show as my co-host as well. We know this report was needed. Hey, pray for another day that we make this year love another. Make to see live another day. Sorry, I'm drained. God bless you, my brother. Take care.
Defund the police department.
We have to. And good night. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Time to fade out.